Hello and welcome to Game Day Grace, the podcast where sports and faith unite in powerful conversations. I am David Schiele. Cory Mose is off today, but we still have somebody very special on the Believers bench. We've got a brother in Christ. He's got a very long title. We just talked about it. So I'm gonna dumb it down and just say that my friend Adam Cavalier, aka Cav, we just call him Cav. Cav is the voice of the Carson-Newman Eagles. He's been with Carson-Newman forever. It's past
14
forever.
years.
Yeah, 14 years.
Man.
So we're past forever. We are at 5 ever. That's how long he's been at Carson-Newman. The voice of the Eagles. And as you are going to tell over the next 20 minutes or so, he's got an epic voice. So it makes sense why he's the voice of the Eagles, man. I'm so happy to have you on, dude. How you doing?
No, it's great to catch up with you, David. It's been we'll go less than, what was it, 5 ever? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
It's slightly less than that, but it has been a hot minute since you and I have chatted, and it's great to be with you.
Yeah, man. We had some good times over there at Carson-Newman. The one thing I remember, man, I loved going to Carson-Newman. So for those that don't know, Carson-Newman is in that East Tennessee area. So when I worked in Knoxville, obviously the Tennessee Volunteers, that's the talk of the town all the time.
Yeah.
But man, Carson-Newman's got themselves a squad. Football-wise, right, on the D2 level. And there'd be times where I would be able to go out there. Now, of course, it couldn't clash with Tennessee, so usually Tennessee's by a week or so we'd go out there. But every time I'd go out there, I had a great time because, A, good atmosphere, B, good people, and the last thing, the food. I don't know where you I don't know where you guys get those finger sandwiches, but those life-changing.
That's my wife.
Are you serious?
So that's been part of the deal. Probably why I'm still married. It's hard to be in this industry and have a successful marriage. But Leanda, I'm very fortunate in that she came up through Marshall with me when we were in college. We met. She did the college radio thing with me, and was just fully in it from the outset, and was named Radio Anchor of the Year by the Associated Press when we were still in college, and then said, "I will follow you wherever." And she's just crazy. So on Saturdays, she's with me on air. She's our sideline reporter. She's our press box caterer. And does a little bit of everything. She's fully invested into what we do here, and I couldn't be more grateful for the role that she plays on game days for us, but far more importantly, as wife and mom to our 2 girls.
Yeah, you have found a good thing.
I have absolutely. I've outkicked my coverage. I'm blessed beyond measure. We just pack it in. We're done. We're good. I don't need to complain. Yeah, she absolutely can put down. If you were to compare our boiled pasta together, her boiled pasta is that much better. That's how good of she is of a chef in the kitchen.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I love that. And so obviously, I talked about the food, right? But the people. Carson-Newman is such a good place. Christian University. What does that day-to-day look like? Because we see the Saturdays. Like, that's awesome. But I know it's more than that.
It is a very disciplined process, I guess, to get to that point. I've got it. It's a little different because you're doing this right now. We have a bye week. I've got my little, here's everything that I have to do day by day throughout the week. And I want certain things checked off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so on and so forth. And it literally is, it's a drumbeat of getting stuff done so that the show on Saturday can sing at its highest capacity. It's honestly very boring when you really drill down to the nuts and bolts. It's more of a how deep do you want to dive to pursue some weird stat that I'm trying to pick up to, you know, add a layer of context for a broadcast, for our game notes, for whatever it may be. And yeah, there's nothing really exciting about crawling through box scores looking for whatever it might be. All of that is so that we can have fun and do a good job on when the ball's in the air on Saturdays. But the process to get there is a lot of Excel spreadsheets, a lot of boring uh, stuff. But the end product is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're so used to the end product, right? And just seeing all that. But I mean, it is a lot of, monotonous work sometimes, some tedious
Yeah.
work, and it doesn't always look as glamorous as it looks on Saturdays. Yeah, that's
you,
true.
you, you, I really do think to do this properly, you got to have a little bit of a servant's heart. Um, because if you're in it for the glitz and glamour, it doesn't work. It does not work. At least for how I operate. Others it might be a different story, but you have to be ready to dive into the muck and the mire uh, to have it be good for an end product.
I always say when you're talking about being a broadcaster or just a sports journalist in general, any type of sports media, it is more likely you become infamous than famous. Like, it is very likely, it will more likely that people will know your name because they can't stand you than
Yeah,
people know your name because they like you. There are a bunch of commentators that have been calling games for decades and people don't know their names. They're like, wait, what's this guy's name? Who is that? It's just because you like him. You don't mind the guy. He's
yeah.
awesome. He's great. He does his job well, doesn't get in the way. But it's the ones that you can't stand that you know their name. And it's like
That,
that's the more likely case.
and that's part of why Carson-Newman has been a good destination um, for me. I didn't really have the desires to be at a to bounce around from team to team, from event to event. I have friends that do that, and all the respect in the world to them. But I wanted to be embedded with one, and to be synonymous with the team, uh, as much as I could be. Obviously, the team and the players, that's what comes first. I'm just merely a conduit for which the things um, happen on a Saturday. But I have no, don't want that. Don't want it to be about me. Don't want it to be. It's about the kids. It's about Carson-Newman, and that's what we want at the forefront, not Adam Cavalier.
Yeah, no, that's I completely understand and agree. It's the same mindset over here and wherever
Yeah,
else I've ever broadcasted. I got to ask, because of that schedule and everything else that goes into making Saturday sing, right? How do you find that time to spend time with family, spend time with the Lord, the things that really
yeah.
matter, right? Like where's that balance?
It is really challenging, and I wish I had a fully fleshed out um, answer because at times it is a bit like riding a roller coaster. Um, I think the helpful thing that being at Carson-Newman uh, does is that Sundays are for the most part uh, fairly sacrosanct. Um, it's not like every Sunday we are. It, we don't have a ton of events. On occasion you'll have you've got to play a random baseball game on a Sunday. You've got to do some stuff. But for the 39 weeks that we are in season, I'd say probably 35 of those our Sundays are free. And so that's been the nice thing about with our football coaches. We don't shoot our coaches show on Sunday. We shoot that on Monday mornings now. Um, it, Back when Ken Sparks was here, we would shoot it before he'd go teach Sunday school. Um, and so that's just kind of how it's been built in. So we have that capability to do what we need to do on Sunday mornings, purely from I'm not young anymore. I'm squarely feeling middle age. Um, and as a consequence of that, you better keep that Sabbath day holy. There's a reason why that's in the Bible. Uh, and you got to have rest. You got to have some rest. And so Sundays are a time to recharge, get with family, um, to go to church and do all that stuff, so that, mentally you're a little bit uh, more there, more available for my wife and kids, uh, and all that stuff is a mission critical, crucial point.
Yeah, I mean, you preaching to the choir right now. I mean,
Yeah.
this is part of it, right? People ask, like, man, it's got to be great to work this job. Like, you have to have this like super easy life, right? And I'm like, well, I said, football happens when? On the weekends. Like, so guess what? I'm working on the weekends.
Yeah.
And then it comes to basketball season. Basketball games happen at what? At night and on the weekends. So
Yeah.
guess what I do? I work nights and I work weekends. So that little birthday party you want to have on a Saturday evening, guess who's not going to be there?
Yeah, it can't happen.
You want to do something on a Friday night, not during high school football season. It's like there's so much that people don't see, and your head is going to spin if you feel like your works is going to determine your status with the Lord. And it's like, yo, this is the gift I was blessed with. This is what I'm able to do, right? With that, the gift and the talent that he gave me, this is how I'm using it, and I'm pretty sure he knows that I am doing my best. Okay. Yes, yeah. I'm working hard on this job. I'm doing my best, and I'm definitely going to spend time with him. It's not that he's not a priority. It's just my schedule's upside down. It's just what it is. And I've had to explain that to my church. They're like, yo, I'm part of the worship team, and the schedule is like we have 2 services, and our call time is like 7:30 in the morning. Well, I get off at about midnight the day before.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not home until 12:30 or 1, and I'm having to get right back up to serve, which I don't mind doing because I have a lot of fun. Like, it's a lot of fun to serve on the worship team. It is. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
However, I had to start blacking out certain Sundays because it's like, guys, I cannot be here at 7, serve 2 services, and then go to a Buccaneers game, and then go to the studio to recap the Buccaneers game.
Yeah.
I'm driving myself into a wall.
Yeah.
So, you got to have some boundaries, but the heart posture, I think, still has to be there. And I think that's kind of been the thing that I had to settle on, when I wasn't able to serve in the capacity that they wanted to.
One of the biggest things that I've learned in my time here, probably one of the greatest influences on my own faith, is from Ken Sparks, who's the head football coach here. I caught him at the tail end of his career, but he won 5 national championships in the 80s. And then I only knew him when he was battling cancer. He coached the final 5 years of his career, battling prostate cancer. He retired in 2016 and passed away shortly after that. But I think he's college football's 5th all-time wins leader, 338 career wins, yada, yada, yada. Absolute legend, but with none of the most humble individual I think I've ever come across, in that, here's this punk 27-year-old kid with his first full-time sports job, and he's pulling me onto his golf cart to ask me who he thinks his starting quarterback should be while handing me a peach tea. That's the kind of guy Ken Sparks was. But through him, what I really, what I keep to me to this day, and will broadcast it to anybody, is that one of the best ways to be God honoring is to maximize yourself. If you're maximizing yourself, you're living yourself for Jesus Christ. And that's one thing that I've really taken away from him, and something that I strive to do. I think I strove to do it before attaining that knowledge, but that really completed the circle.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. Did you want to go to a Christian university? Like, was that thing like I have to work at a Christian university, or did Carson-Newman just kind of fall from heaven?
We'll go with the latter.
Okay.
So it was something that I was definitely open to. Um, I'm a byproduct. I was Catholic high school for my final 4 years of high school, and I did a year at the Catholic middle school in West Virginia at Charleston Catholic. Um, so I was, I guess the pump was primed in that regard. And I'd been at Marshall. I did my undergrad there, went on and did a graduate assistantship um, where I was the voice of the women's basketball team. Uh, and so I kind of, my number one thing was I wanted to be somewhere that would let me be the voice. That was what I felt called to do. That was my top objective. And I mean, you're in this industry, you can't exactly pick and choose where you go.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go where you're hired. Um, but Carson-Newman had always intrigued me. I grew up during the Chad Pennington, Randy Moss, Byron Leftwich heyday of Marshall football. And I very much have retained this piece of my childhood personality where like dad had to buy me the game day program. And Marshall football's game day programs at that time, because Marshall was the winningest team in the 90s, they featured that. But they also featured the other winningest teams in Division Two and Division Three. So Carson-Newman was the second winningest team in the 90s for Division Two with Pittsburgh State. So I'd spent all these years collecting Marshall football programs and seeing Carson-Newman in these programs. And so when the position came open, again, divine providence, Steve Cotton, who's the voice of the herd and goes into his 30th year next year, he was at Carson-Newman in the late 80s and early 90s. And so when the job came open, he said, hey, that's literally, I'm set to start year 3 with him as his pre and post game show host for football. He says they've got an opening for it to be the guy. Small Southern Baptist school. You interested? Absolutely. Thinking voice first, but thinking this going to a small Christian school, I'm not going to have to worry about managing some of the other things that you have to manage if you're in more the associate AD role or the director role than the voice role, but having to manage some of the stuff that you would if you're at down the road at Tennessee or at Marshall or another large institution. And so it was at the time like, oh yeah, this could be a really good thing. And now having been here for 14 years, I can assure you it's been a welcome perk of the job, but not something that was a direct like, oh yeah, we got to pursue this just because of the nature of the industry. You go where, looking in hindsight being 2020, there's definitely some divine providence in getting me here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're there. I'm glad your wife is there with them sandwiches.
Me too.
I wish that's the one thing I wish I could go back, man. I had a lot of fun at those games, man. It really was awesome, dude. And the one thing that I will tell anybody is that when you go to Carson-Newman, the one thing you will feel is welcomed. And I think that's special to go somewhere, especially as a media member. And you're like, wow, they kind of want me here. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, it goes back to, I'm a big golden rule guy, and I want to treat others the way that I want to be treated. And the way I want to be treated is to be handed a plate full of food get to shovel it in my face while I talk about sports. Um, so, uh, yeah, you gotta treat others the way that you want to be treated, and I want people to have a great experience, not just a good experience, a great experience if they want to come cover Carson, not just football. Pick your sport, and so that is the basis for that.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. It really is, man. Keep that golden rule, man. Keep that golden rule. The last question I got, and I asked this to pretty much all of our guests, is what's something that the Lord has put on your heart or put in your mind that you're going to carry with you for the rest of 2025?
I will go back to um, what Ken said, and it is something that I mean, since he retired, I've really tried to hone in on, and that is maximize yourself. Um, and do that for God. And if you do that, the rest kind of takes care of itself. Um, so for anybody that doesn't have that mindset, that attitude, um, I think that's the one thing that I would put forth. Because if you do that, I promise you, whatever it is you're looking at, it'll work out in the end.
Amen. Amen to that. Thank you so much, Cav. Thank you so
David,
much.
it's great to catch up with you.
It's always great to catch up, and I hope people can fully tell that you truly have the epic voice for the Eagles. That was the goal. That was the goal. It was like, yeah, this is the voice of the Eagles, guys. If you got nothing out of the last 25 minutes, hopefully it was that. Oh yeah, this guy really is
deep rumbling baritone.
Yes, the gifted golden voice of the Eagles, Adam Cavalier. Thank you so much, man. Hey, I gotta give you your props, man. I gotta give you your props, brother. I gotta give you your props. I gotta give the people props too, man. I gotta tell the people thank you for listening. I gotta tell them to subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We have an official Facebook page. We're on TikTok as well for the young kids. So we're everywhere, man. So thank everybody for listening. And until we see you next Wednesday, everybody be blessed.